What is up, guys, and welcome to Season 2 of the Nexus podcast. We are back after a short hiatus to bring you Battle Spirits chats and all the rest. How are we doing, my friends?
Excellent.
Good.
Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you all had a really good Christmas and stuff. But we have worlds to speak about. So we're pretty much going to get into that. How have you been, Emmy? You had a good New Year and stuff?
Yeah, good. Went way too fast. It's almost the 20th of January, which is crazy. But yeah, had a good Christmas and New Year's Eve. Are you okay? uh, um, I spent New Year's Eve back in London. I had Harry actually over, had a few people, and Frankie as well. So it's like 12 of us in our London apartment. It was cozy, but it was great. Yeah. Kieran, how was yours?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, you started a new job. We mentioned on the last episode, I think. So that's been going well. Been very busy, but obviously no time to be swamped by work when there's world's testing to be done. We've been growing our local scene. In one of the weeks, Emmy, Harry, and Frankie came down with the regular group of people. We have a very solid player base now down at Play Nation. So please come along if you're watching. We like to grow the community more, and you get some testing with some of the best players in the UK and Europe.
Soon to be the world.
What about you, Harry?
Yeah, no, it's been good. I've got this little photo from Emmy's New Year's night. Can see I was
Yay.
beard mode. But I thought I better get rid of it before I fly to the US, just for pragmatic.
You look like Jesus, mate.
But no, it's been good. I mean, it's been a typical December, January in terms of, everyone's depressed and sad and having to get on with it. I think a lot of us haven't had as much time as certainly we would like to test. That's generally been the feedback I've been getting from speaking to people is we're all a bit under-tested, in which case me flying out to America tomorrow, thereby giving myself 1 week less to test, is a bit absent-minded, but still, hopefully we'll just have an amazing time. And if I still manage to do better than everyone, then just know you had a whole extra week. And
well, on the contrary, you'll be adjusted to the time zone a week in advance. So
Yeah, there is that advantage for sure. But yeah, no, it's great to be here and doing more podcasts for all of you, and thanks for watching if you're still here.
Yeah, well, how was yours, Josh?
Yeah, no, I had a good time. I've been really unwell, to be honest, over the New Year. But no, it was lovely to spend some time with the family. I live quite far away from them, so it's awesome to travel down. I had a really good time. But ready to get to LA and win some money.
Let's do it, baby.
All right, so yeah, but yeah, we have a little a new layout and stuff, which looks really cool. I think I hope give us some feedback in the comments about it. We've also got some social medias, which I'm going to switch. Well, I'll show you in a minute about that. That we're starting. So if you want to follow us, pretty much just to remind you that we're doing the podcast most of the time, but we may post some fun stuff, and yeah, we're looking to diversify content a bit. We've got a battle arena scene ready to do some games. So we will get some games recorded in and maybe do like commentary over the games and stuff. We were thinking some cool stuff like that. But yeah, lots of cool stuff coming up, and we'll try and get some footage of Worlds, and we look forward to seeing all you guys there if you're going to play.
Yeah, hopefully get a Worlds vlog.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure. Actually,
we
have to.
You guys got any good ideas for content on the fly that we might be able to conjure up in the next few months?
I had a little surprise one that I told you about a while ago. I'm sure
I remember.
I will bring the necessary materials.
Harry's
coming up, by the
Nexus
way, Harry.
Boys OnlyFans. All right, let's go. That's the thing
Don't
that everyone's
ruin it
waiting
for
for.
them, Josh.
Sorry, I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. But yeah, no, we got loads of stuff coming, guys, and we're looking forward to making some content for you and just having a good time talking about Battle Spirits and probably other games as well. So yeah, we're gonna do a little prize draw for.
Well, just before we do,
Sorry.
social media wise, people can now follow us on @TheNexusBSS on X or Twitter. Follow us, and you'll keep up to date with our latest takes on each of the card reveals. I'm sure we'll be happy to keep and also we'll be showing our episodes there.
So what was it at the Nexus?
@TheNexusBSS.
@TheNexusBSS.
Yeah. So the @ being the @ symbol, obviously. The actual username being the BSS. Sorry, the Nexus BSS.
Yeah, just changing the
Social media guy explaining to boomers.
Just
Yeah.
just changing the screen.
Hi, Grandpa.
No,
it's
I didn't have the right address on the screen.
Silas before
Didn't have the
writing it
right
out.
fucking address on the screen, guys. Like, get off my
The @ symbol
tits.
doesn't write well on papyrus, guys.
Oh my god.
This is why we're the best.
If you
podcast.
guys don't shut up, I'm gonna spank you all. Right. All right, guys. So we have a wheel. This is for the Black Lance. So basically, guys, in regards to giving this to you, if you're at Worlds, just let me know and I'll meet you in person and give it. If not, hit us up, give us your address, I'll get it sent to you no matter where you are. And yeah, we really appreciate it, guys, for all the comments and all the love. So yeah, good luck, everyone, and it's time to spin the wheel.
Do it.
Here it goes. Here it goes. Who's going to be the winner of the Black Lance? It is Russell. It's Raptor 7.
Oh!
So one of the local boys.
Oh no, they're gonna think it's well, to be fair, it's not the best card also.
So
that we
yeah,
have.
congratulations, Russell.
Congrats.
You get your lovely winner's Black Lance. I know you're a massive purple player. So yeah, we'll go back to the main pod screen for a moment. Fancy new little cutaways and stuff. So yeah, World's hype, guys. World's hype. What is our plan? Harry, you've already delved into the fact that you're going early and stuff. Let's hear more about your plan for the tournament.
Well, I think it will be quite an interesting meta. EU and US tend to be quite different. EU skews a bit more control. We like ramping and running top-end cards, where US like to kill you at the earliest available opportunity. So to that end, yeah, I think we've all found it very interesting. Obviously, like me, Kieran, Emmy, yourself as well, Josh, like we've all tested together, discussed these things together. I think it's it has been quite interesting to compare the two metas. If you compare all the US events, I think red mid-range is probably the most popular deck, even in the one most recently, I think the True Duelist Fable Beast event. Red was still incredibly popular at that event. So you can build the deck in that direction, but then again, you have the EUs to deal with their Nomen Guard and Alrain obsessions. So it should be interesting. Obviously, personally, you know, I have a week less, but you know, we go, we have fun, we enjoy it. But I'm just
Born
really
ready,
excited.
man.
To see
Born
what
ready.
turns out. You know, I get lucky from time to time, but yeah, just to see what comes out of it, I think will be really interesting, and I think that there's opportunity for a few little sleepers. You know, like aggro could be a really good shout. Little bit of blue spice here could be a good shout as well. I think there's a lot to keep.
You guys will be pleased to know we're doing a tier list on. We're gonna do 2 picks each.
Oh yeah.
Do a little tier list coming up. But yeah, what about you, Kieran? What's your plan for? How have you been practicing, gearing up, doing montages? What have you been doing?
Yeah, most playtesting sessions have basically gone along the lines of let's play test, and then an hour in, when our opponent's taking too long to think, we hate this game, and we usually play test something else. We've most of our world's testing time has been spent learning new TCGs like Flesh and Blood and Altered TCG. So we
Oh,
are
wow.
putting our good use of time as well. So
Diversifying a bit.
yeah.
Are you
We are
you
working.
excited? Are you going out beforehand, or are you just you heading out just before the tournament? What's your plan when you get to LA?
Yeah. I'll be flying next Wednesday, and I actually took some leave off work, so I'll be hanging around LA for the next 2 weeks.
Ooh, 2 weeks.
So
Very nice.
should be plenty of time to see what there is and experience LA for what it has to offer. I've heard that's not much, but it's
Ooh,
fine.
wow. Low expectations. What about you, Emmy? Are you been thinking about the tournament, thinking about what you're gonna do, thinking about getting to that top 8 again, getting to that or top 16? It will be, I guess.
We'll try. Yeah, we'll try for sure. I think best testing has been locals. I think we had a couple of 2-3 consecutive weekends with Harry and Kieran. It was like super interesting and insightful to kind of see how we all come to different conclusions. No, we come to very similar conclusions in different ways. So that has been a really good testing ground. Also, I wanted to give a huge shout out to I think their Discord name is Bloody Malus, and is the person that I believe single-handedly, I believe it's Kevin, his name is, built BSS db.dev, and they also added recently a play function where you can play like a one single player, I think, like against yourself. And we've actually heavily used it for testing because it's super easy to just move cards, you skip some steps, and it helps you collect information a bit faster, like makes your theory crafting a bit more valuable because you can just fire up a yellow list and test against it like 3-4 games very quickly, see if it even holds up, and then take it from there. So huge shout out. I'll even go as far as saying, if you can, like, support, because he's awesome and it will give you a premier user with some additional functionalities.
And
Not sponsored, by the way.
There's no download link, by the way, as well. So it's literally built on the browser, right?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Honestly, kudos for that. So yeah, I'm feeling good. Flying out next Thursday. I'll be on the plane with Nick and Alberto, and which are Italian players. So we might like spend 12 hours flying and playing. I'll be over there with my partner. She's already been, but she'll stay there for the week with me. We have a few fun things booked. So Kieran, maybe look at the Laugh Factory. I think it's really nice.
Yeah.
If you like comedy, I'm gonna go see Bobby
Definitely.
Lee. That'll be nice.
I've heard of that place, Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, Josh, how about you? I know, like, I see you grinding games on our Discord.
Yeah, I mean, I had quite a lot of time off card games in general, to be honest. But no, I've over the last week I've been taking a keen interest in like asking a lot of people questions and seeing what people think is good. I kind of got an idea of what I would like, and what I'm predicting meta wise. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna play with a smile on my face as I always do and just have fun. Really, I hope to do well, but I don't really mind if I don't. I'm gonna enjoy going to LA, and I've got plans to meet some friends that I haven't seen for a long time.
How was the time of playing TCGs, by the way, once you're done?
Yeah, it was fine, really. Just relaxing and trying not to use my brain too much, playing a bit of guitar, that kind of thing. So yeah, no, but
Maybe we can get a guitar solo for 200 subs.
I don't know about I don't play for cheap, man. 200 subs isn't enough for me.
You heard him here, guys. 500 subs.
But
There
yeah,
you go.
no, I'm excited. I'm just excited to hang out with everyone in a cool place, and yeah, it's gonna be an interesting week for sure.
And do come up to us and say hi if you're going to Worlds as well. We love meeting everyone.
Absolutely,
Sure.
yeah, for
Internationally as
sure.
well.
We definitely enjoy that, and yeah, just come and have a chat about us. If you don't agree with our opinions, tell us why, or if you do, just engage with us because we love it. But yeah, we're gonna get into our world's tier list now. Just so everyone knows, Harry, like he said, is leaving soon, so he's literally packing his cards now. That's dedication to the cause.
Building deck / packing cards now.
Exactly,
It's
but
like, can I
he
run
could
at
be
Manpower?
building the world champion deck whilst doing a podcast.
Right now.
That would be
Yeah.
a story.
Could be.
This could be the start of your arc
He's
for winning
he's
the worlds.
catching the Hogwarts Express later on.
Straight to
If
the
you look-
moon, baby.
If you look very closely at what cards he's putting out, you can probably kind of guess what
Yeah,
kind of deck he's playing.
yeah.
I heard there was a prize card Maduke in that box as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just in his bulk box, naughty. Not
It
even
would
in
be
his,
symbolic,
not even
wouldn't it?
sleeved up either.
The
Madness.
Easter egg of this episode is like try to figure out the deck because Harry is gonna move one card at a time.
Because Harry's trying to figure it out himself. Like, jeez.
This tier list will be very helpful for me to that end, to be honest. I could do with the insight.
All right. Let's get this going then, Harry. What do you want to start with? Which bad boy do you want?
For me, okay, well, I think, yeah, like I said, I won't take an S tier one this time. I'm gonna go with a deck I know quite well. I'll go with the Rotting Swamp purple, and I think I'll put that. So this can be akin to like the Curse Serpent build that won the Grand Open not that long ago.
So I'll use the Viper Dragon as the guy for it, or
yeah. Whatever you fancy, but yeah, I think I'll put it in B, but like a good B. It's a very viable deck for sure. Again, we saw it won a Grand Open exactly because of its viability. It's a playstyle that I really enjoy, and even at like PT2, for example, Chechen, who I played in top 8 and on stream, he ran a similar strategy. It's always viable, and especially in a more control-oriented meta, it tends to creep under the radar. If control white has a good presence in the meta, it really does well against that. However, I think what holds the deck back is maybe less than favorable, or at best a bit too even matchups against red and yellow. It doesn't really trade statistically into those colors very well, and those colors have good removal options to deal with the spirits during their turn, thereby not proccing Rotting Swamp. So it's one to keep an eye on. I think that it's one of the better aggressive variants available by virtue of the pressure that Camelot offers in tandem with Rotting Swamp and all the other aggressive curse tools that they have.
What would you say?
so-
What would you say would be the 3 key cards for this strategy?
Well, I think firstly, Rotting Swamp again. It's just a really good generic Nexus, especially for aggressive strategies. Makes it very difficult again, like to use Control White as the example of a matchup where you're good against this, because sure, suppression does floodgate you a lot of the time. It will stop you getting damage through, but you'll still be drawing cards for Swamp, fueling core thefts later on and stuff like that. So the Rotting Swamp is very important. Beyond that, I'd say as a spell, probably Deadly Balance. I think Deadly Balance is very good when it comes at discount, obviously. It's very good when you are drawing for Rotting Swamp and Aglavale or Amethystus, all very good cards. So again, I think Deadly Balance would be worth highlighting there. And then in terms of the top end, it could go anywhere. Like you could go in the Infernal Bacillus direction, but I guess we might as well... Actually, rather than highlighting Maduke, I think Nemesis would be an interesting thing to highlight, because I think Nemesis is really what allows that style of purple to bridge the gap with decks like red and yellow. Like Nemesis is pretty good against either one. A 1 core 6k on the block is pretty good against a lot of yellow's early game, and against red, the core removal effect is pretty pertinent. Being able to draw cards is pretty pertinent. 3 core 8k makes it quite difficult for Apollo Dinos to swing into it, and then they'll lose something in return. So yeah, I would highlight those 3 cards in particular.
So quick one, best matchup, like easiest matchup for it, and most difficult matchup.
Sure, I'd say the best matchup in general, I would say like Control White. I don't think Control White is easy or free by any means, but with the infinite abundance of curses and all the drawing you're going to be doing, again, you'll be able to fuel a turn where like you just core theft, pitch 5, kill something. They don't have enough mana to Ice Shield. Enterprise doesn't really stick around all that easily because of the curse either. So again, I think Control White is probably its best matchup. And then for its weakest matchup, I'd probably say red. Ritual Fire is really punishing, ridiculously punishing, and just all the Nexus removal to get rid of the swamps, Star Blessed to punish your Belder Gores and Black Lances and stuff. It is a very difficult matchup. And I think we saw that, to be fair, in the event where it won the Grand Open. It won in the finals against Control White, didn't it? So
All right.
probably, a favorable matchup.
So cursed aggression, hitting it with the B tier.
Well, B tier should be, so we have top tier, good, okay, meh, and cheeky.
Yeah.
Is that an okay?
B's in the middle.
Yeah.
B's dead in the middle. Yeah.
Okay.
So what would you pick,
okay.
Emmy?
Me? So maybe if we have an okay deck, I'll try to pick a good one. I'll go with Gale. Maybe we use Fang for this. I'll steal it from Mr. Gale himself, Kieran.
And that's in A tier?
Yeah, in good. Yeah.
All right. So old Gale. So why would you put it in A tier above Curse Aggression? What's the gameplay reasons why you put it up there? Because that's quite A's for me is quite a high tier. You know, that's something that could potentially win the tournament with a bit of luck. So yeah, what puts it in A for you?
Yeah, the way I see it is it has, good potential to do very well, and I think we've seen Gale being played in different iterations. I personally played it at Pro Tour together with Red. I think good is realistically the highest potential of Gale. I don't think there is a top tier Gale deck, and there might be an okay or even a meh Gale deck, but there can be some really good Gale decks, and the reason is mainly because of that key card, Fang. I think Fang really can just swing the game. We've seen the main drawback of Gale strategy being like a bit high rolly, being able to offload your hand but not have ways to replenish it very efficiently, and at times it just costs you the game, but others you just win because you might be even at 2 or 1 life, and you just go down with Fang. You maybe swing with another Gale Spirit, or you Torn Prison, and then you swing. You take 2 bounce, and if they don't have an Ice Shield or a suppression or a Swift Spirit, a Scopal, they're just dead. So Gale is just a really, I think, is a great engine. I think is more of an engine than a deck itself.
In regards to the engine, what would be your 3 key cards for this archetype? Or kind of archetype? Not really fully archetype, but
yeah, I think it would probably be. I'll choose 4. Fang, Toki, Highlands, and Alrune probably.
Our Lady Alrune.
Yes, very good card. I think we're all fall in love with that card.
It's so powerful, so great.
Mhm.
So in regards to best matchup and worst matchup, what would you say, and give us a little reasoning why for each?
Yeah, again, it really depends what kind of Gale you're building. I think it's very like indicative, or I guess influential. So if you build a green or red similar to Hot Wings that I played, you might struggle a lot against white control. You know, that was the reason why kind of had like that kind of like Nova trying to deal like with some pieces, and obviously you run the Apollodinos that goes around armor. So white control might be a bit of a problem because they also have the Infinity Shield, the suppression, you know, block while exhausted kind of stuff that block that Fang finish. Best matchup, it's probably like, you know, it's quite versatile, I think. I don't know. I think I would ask Kieran actually, what's the best matchup? Like, what's the best matchup in your opinion, having played that deck a lot?
It doesn't really have a best matchup. I know that's
Yeah.
kind of a cop out. It can vary quite a lot, but like, I mean, it doesn't really have a best matchup.
Yeah, that
It's
was
probably one of the
struggling,
more. It's
honestly.
probably one of the more 50-50 decks in terms
Yeah.
of its best matchups, but its worst matchups are pretty bad. We saw in the stats, by the way, from the PT against white control and purple control. Its win rate was like 35%. Those two decks.
Ouch, yeah, that's pretty tough.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
yeah, still in an A tier then. With that being said, so
I think it's
You have
good.
to respect the Fang.
Yeah.
The Fang's too good.
yeah, I mean, if you're not prepared for it, then that card
Well-
can definitely destroy.
Yeah, again, that's like the best possible Gale version. That's why I put in good.
I'm gonna
Also, people are cutting their main deck Nexus destructions nowadays, which is better for the Gale deck.
absolutely, that's true. I'm gonna cut in next. I'm gonna do an obvious one. Yellow Genbu. I said it before in previous, quite a while back. I said yellow's gonna win worlds, and frankly, after
You
tests,
never said that. What are you chatting about?
is literally in one of the podcasts recorded.
Oh, damn it.
Recorded.
Gonna have to find the clip.
I need a timestamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
absolutely
think
said
it was
it.
in the last ET tier list when we put yellow a bit further down, and Josh was like, "It's gonna win one day, but it's dead for
And it
today."
literally,
and then it actually won.
and it literally
Won that
won.
PT.
Yeah, it won that PT. And no, I
That's my
I straight
expense.
up said, yellow's going to win worlds, and I believe that this deck has what it takes. The Team Duelist deck. I've tested it quite a bit, playing against people who used to be my friends. Not after playing this deck, it is completely degenerate. The value it has is just insane. It draws a lot. It gains life. It's got unblockable. It's got really cheap unblockable. Floodstream, Form Prison. You know, the list just goes on. It's a menace. It's definitely S tier. I think it's the deck to beat. And I think most people who want to do well will be prepared for this matchup. But again, it's just an incredibly powerful deck. The way they built it is very good. If it can be improved from there, you know, it can easily definitely be a winning deck. I think its hard matchups are obvious. Red. But again, on the flip side, yellow players, if people are focusing in on yellow, they might have figured out a way to deal with red. You know, it works both ways, really. But red is definitely.
It beat red in Pro Tour, so.
I know, yeah. It has the legs to beat any deck, and that's why it's definitely an S tier deck, and probably, in my opinion, the only S tier deck in the format currently. I think there's other really good.
We will respectfully disagree.
I mean, I think there's other good decks, but I think this deck just doesn't really have a
Just being
weakness.
traumatized. I think the one thing that reassures me is that it's not a deck that is like super autopilot. Like you still need to know your matchup pretty well.
Yeah. But it's not.
and
It's not that difficult though. It is very linear in the way it plays. It's very strong. Like you don't even have to draw that well to still win. You can catch up very easily. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not invincible, and it can be played around. I just think it's very overtuned in this current meta, and it's been mastered. I think the deck has been mastered.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that. You mentioned potential improvements and that you've played the TD list a lot. Do you think that there are, not disrespectfully, obviously, times change, metas change. Do you think that there's any little bits of secret spice or little improvements that can be made to make the red matchup better? As I think the red matchup is really the only fulcrum point of FBY. Like, it seems to have such a good, durable game plan against everything else, but red can really hurt it.
Honestly, I think if you mess with that deck the way it's built, you just ruin it. Don't get me wrong. I think it can definitely be. There's definitely probably people that have figured out something better, but the deck is very well balanced. And the whole thing is, you got to try and 2-for-1 with Floodstream. That's how you beat red, right? You 2-for-1 them. Maybe there's more ways to do that. Obviously, you've got the 5k exhaust Nexus on tap as well, which is just absolutely devastating for most decks in the format. So, yeah, no, I feel like there could possibly be changes to cater for the red matchup, but again, I just think the deck's been made very well for a wide high win rate. And I'm not saying I'm going to play it. I've been testing it a lot, like I said.
I don't know. Talks about how good it is for 5 minutes. I'm not going to play it.
The only S tier deck, he says.
I think that's the case. I think every other deck can be beaten. I think this deck is one that is a problem, and even if you try and work around it, you still might not beat it. So, but yeah, what about you, Kieran? Do you want to take us to D Town?
No. Listen, let's talk about an actual fun deck to play. And if you've been coming to Play Nation Locals for a few weeks, you probably know what I'm gonna say. But let's talk about Smag right now. Smag is such a cool deck.
Where are you putting him?
It's gonna go in good. It's gonna go in A tier. I think I want to put it above Gale right now.
The dual. All right, yeah, that's fine. I can switcheroo.
Yeah, I think so. Smag was the third most played deck at the PT and had the absolute worst conversion rate. Not a single one got top. I think the highest placement was top 18. I think it was way, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
I think congrats to him if it is. Not congrats if it's not. Sorry, but yeah, it did not have a good conversion rate.
Why did it fall off?
Completely.
Why did it fall off?
A lot of the lists that went there were playing the Baculus Curse Dragon top end, which doesn't really do much against yellow, which was the best deck there and the most played deck there. But I think the Smag lists are very, very adaptable. The low end is the same. You're playing your Heaven's Cloak, your Mantingals, your Owl Reigns, for example. But your top end is super flexible. At locals last week, I brought a very pure Maduke top end. It was crazy. It was not good. I wouldn't recommend it. But there's a world where you do a very funny top end, where you play Andromedas and Dragno Kings. Like, it's such a flexible deck, and I think that's its best aspect. It's also a fan favorite deck. I think that's just something we have to speak about as well. Like, people just love playing Smag at the moment, and I think it's a deck that people are really fine tuning at the moment. And I would not be surprised to see a Smag list that's playing like Dragno Kings as its top end, right? And maybe some Andromedas. Like, I just would not be surprised. To try and beat the yellow matchup.
So I know you're saying it's a very wide playing field, but
yes.
If you could pick 3 key spirits for dual Smaug, what would it be? What would they be?
All right,
and why? Why did they synergize with the card?
So Smag is number 1. It's the name of the deck. It's like the cards is insane. Like it has reduction for everything. It draws your card, it ramps a card, does everything you want. So Smag's number 1. Alraine is number 2. She's the wife of the deck. We spoke about her already. She ramps you. The reason she's the card that like
I'm
keeps
actually
the
just gonna
deck together in the mid game, right? Like
Do we have
you play.
Arun on the? I was gonna put her in.
Yeah, she is there, but I don't know if there's another one. But listen, she's the wife. We love her. You play her, you ramp 1, which is what the deck wants, and then her sitting there
There you
just
go.
wins you some matchups.
She can go in between Feng Huan and Jewel Dragon. She's in both.
That's perfect. And Haru knows us very well. Sometimes the deck will just play Mantingale, Heaven's Cloak, Alraine, and start tapping you, and you can't do anything, and you're just dead. And you basically play against green aggro, you know?
Alraine is ridiculously better on the swing than on the block, and she's amazing on both. She is so good. You're right.
That's my number 2. My number 3. Beldegor, right? Surely.
The king.
It has to be, right?
King of the underworld. Yeah, we love
He's
Beldegor.
the true king. He is such an amazing. Like, when I said this before, when I won Liverpool with Gale, I would not have done that without Beldegor. Like Beldegor was so crucial for that deck then, and it like Smag and Gale play very similarly. It's just ramp, and then try and like Beldegor loop and maybe a top end loop.
I mean, even the Genbu deck has Beldegor in it. You know, it's such a versatile card. It's really amazing. So
worst matchup. Well, I'm gonna just say this is like worst matchup is just yellow, right? Fabled Beast. Like it has to be just because of the grind game.
S tier.
Worst matchup is Star Blast draw.
Honestly, yeah. Honestly, exactly what Emiliano said.
Yeah, why don't we have? We should have Starvest Draw as one of the tier cards just to put in S, because that card is snapped.
It does suck. I played in one of my locals games against Kiam. Those who know Kiam know him very well. He played red for the tournament. Turn 1, when summoned, he drew 4. Turn 2, when summoned, he drew 4. Turn 3, when summoned, drew 4 more. I lost that game, by the way, FYI. Yeah. That's your worst matchup is Star Blessed, but your best matchup is that your opponent doesn't know what you're doing game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this deck, you can sometimes stretch it out for an hour. So
I think it's lost a lot of its predictability now. However, I think it's a bit too popular for its own good.
But yeah, you're a big fan of the deck, though. I guess
Yeah, I've been playing it at locals 3 weeks in a row. Trying to spice it up a little bit.
All right, so
I have, a quick question for Kieran on that, because obviously you won the Grand Open with Gale Highlands, and then in locals over the past few weeks you've been playing. Well, you've moved away from the Highlands version into the sort of ramp green good stuff. I played ramp green good stuff at Liverpool as well, so I'm familiar with that. But obviously you've played in like both areas. Considering that they're both in A tier, and you said that you'd put the Smag a bit above, what are sort of your thoughts in terms of comparing the two, aside from like play style and what you would enjoy, I guess, in a more clinical way?
I think like the way to look at it is that Gale it's not really a proactive deck. It's just a ramp deck, and then it tries to go for the kill when it can. But the biggest thing that just bugs me about Gale is like if you get back Curse Dragon or you get like Enterprise Ward, you can't do anything. You literally can't. But the Smag deck changes this a little bit because your top end is just so very like if you're playing the back Curse Dragon, your top end is amazing. If you need to swap it up, like your sideboard as Smag is so interesting because you can change the whole deck like in between sideboards. My favorite thing about Smag is how the typical lists right now don't play Nexuses, and you don't brick into them at all. And then also, if your opponent's playing Nexus Destruction, they have dead cards in their deck, which is quite funny.
Yeah, definitely. We made that decision consciously in Liverpool to not run any Nexus to not run any Nexuses just to see. And yeah, as you say, it does invalidate a lot of cards in their deck immediately.
But Gale doesn't lose as hard to Star Blessed as Smag, so.
All right, so we are halfway through the tier list now. I'm going to quickly switch back to our Wheel of Fortune and say good luck.
Oh, what's this, by the way?
This is for the Buff Long Bill alt art.
The giant, right?
And this is for Larson Gray 0. Congratulations, buddy. You have won yourself a Buffalong Bill Alt Art, get in touch and I will get it sent to you as soon as possible.
Congrats
Yeah,
on last one,
we will be drawing the Magical Dream Bomb at the end of the show, guys. Thank you for sticking around. We hope you're enjoying it. So yeah, let's get on with the tier list. Sorry to interrupt your deck building, Harry. What would you pick for your next? Just kidding, bro. What would you pick for your next next tier? And if there's another S tier card, tell me what it is.
I mean, I was gonna save the other obvious S tier for someone else just because it's quite obvious. I guess I'll get it over with and put Apollo Dinos, the red mid range in S. I think is clearly one of the high rollers of the format. Again, it's been one of the most popular decks, if not the most popular deck. Certainly in the US events, in set 3, very popular over here as well. And you can see why. Like it's just really good at what it does. Apollo Dinos is a menace, just dominates the mid game. It's very difficult, even in like red mirrors. It's very difficult to keep your own Apollo Dinos or Dino Man or things like that on board when it's so easy to modulate stats with Volcanic Canyon, which is incredible anyway. Killing all the Nexuses really punishes FBY and Gale, which would be other format contenders otherwise. Obviously, red has its issues in terms of the matchups. I'd say its best matchup is probably... Well, I wouldn't say its best matchup is yellow, but I think we might as well highlight that just in terms of the sort of meta impact. Like, red is the clear counter to yellow, or at the very least it checks it quite hard. But yeah, red struggles against control white in particular, as white is able to go over the top of it. But even then, the Dragonoid mid-range, as it's often called, it forces difficult choices from white. Like Elk, my boy, my heartfelt love from launch event, gets punished really badly by Apollo Dinos. Like it's very difficult. Like, and if you're putting 5 cores on Elk, like, you know, a lot of the red lists run 2 Dream Bomb. It's very easily disrupted. It really forces control white to sit back, lean on Aegis and Nomengard as defensive pivots in order to really slowly get into the late game before flooding out with Diners. Otherwise, they could play a more aggressive strategy with Elk themselves, white, but they're sort of forced into that late game spot purely because of how powerful red is. So yeah, I think red and Fable Beast are probably the 2 decks that if you're showing up to Worlds, you have to be able to beat them. Yeah, for good reason. They're very good lists.
Yeah, so would you consider Nova like at the same level as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nova's one of the things on this list, right? So maybe we can talk a bit about Nova afterwards. But I think you're right to highlight how versatile red is. It's an advantage that I think it has over yellow. Yellow has different areas it can go in for sure and different tech options, but the archetypal nature of it is so it's like 40 cards that are just, you're definitely playing them. You might drop a Flagellum here or there, you might main Michaela here or there. But again, that sort of TD structure with the list that they did is so tight. With red, you have so many options you can run. Like, you can make it much more aggressive, go into like the Scorch Battlefield, Rain Needle, really just try to get them got quickly. But even just, yeah, in terms of that default mid-range where you're just hitting with Dynaman, Dilophosa, Bearded Eagle, Camellia Whip, even when you know what's coming playing against it, it's still very difficult to deal with. And even if they're just like playing 1 creature per turn, swing, kill some stuff, Volcanic Break, something else, it's like, I mean, it is the best statted color in the game, isn't it? Like, if I'm not mistaken, especially in the early game, like the only thing that even comes close to Dynoman is like Bearded Eagle, which is also in red, and Porcupine in green, which also gets clapped by Apollo Dinos. So it's like, our Rain gets clapped by Apollo Dinos. A lot of the yellow stuff does. So yeah, Nova definitely has its perks for sure, as we'll get into. But just Apollo Dinos Andromeda alone, with like a couple Dragno King chucked in there just to call it a day, couple Double Heart, like maybe even base Nebula Dragon. It's just like, yeah.
So quick fire. I know you just laid out a bunch of cards, but what are the free key cards? Excluding Apollo Dinos.
Apollo Dinos for sure.
I mean, he's obviously the king of the
yeah. very, very powerful. Didn't need to talk about it too much. It's just the boss monster that's a 5
It
cost.
ignores
Very, very strong.
it ignores armor, guys. So what else do you need to
crucially.
know? What else do you
Very,
need to
very
know?
strong. Then beyond that, I'd put Volcanic Canyon second. I mean,
Great card.
it's just one of the best cards in the whole game.
Star Blessed Draw goes without saying, really, obviously. So you don't need to say that. We already mentioned that guy. S tier by himself. That card.
I guess otherwise, it's difficult. Like a lot of the cards kind of do the same thing in terms of like Dilafosa, Camellia Whip. Yeah, it's just like Polodinos, Volcanic Canyon, I guess.
Dino Man, obviously the classic Dino Man.
Oh yeah, Dino Man, 100%. Just an
Classic
absolute
Dino Man.
monster. Is why FBY struggles. Like if FBY dealt with Dino Man consistently, then the matchup would improve.
Well, on that, would you say that Fable Beast is its best matchup? It's the key reason why it's in the S tier.
Within this sort of meta discussion, it's probably worth highlighting it. Obviously there are easier matchups for red for sure, like Tempo Green, for example, which we'll discuss a bit later. But a problem with Tempo Green is that it loses badly to red. Like it loses badly. But yeah, in terms of those top decks, I think the fact that red has definitely a favorable Fable Beast matchup is very important when it comes to this meta analysis.
What about its weakness?
Control white for sure. Because they're just able to play the game at a similar pace, but then end up on top of you. Aegis and Nomengard are incredible tools for stabilizing. Like Aegis is very difficult for that mid-range red to deal with, especially once it stabilizes and gets the bounce. Nomengard gives the refresh, and as the control white player, you're really at liberty to just sit back, absorb all the pressure, and then once you've established dominance over the board, just start dropping Derm Diners, getting in their face. I think control white is red's toughest enemy.
All right, so moving on, Emmy, what are you gonna pick for your second? Are you gonna put another S tier in the fold, or you got some other ideas?
I think probably a good segue is talking about control white, which I believe goes into good tier A.
Are we talking about Fanatic Elk? Or
I would put Nomengard because
it's all encompassing.
Yeah, I think Nomengard is just like the staple, and is such a good card that just carries the deck in many ways. White control is particularly relevant because of what's sitting there in top tier, which is red. So white immediately becomes that good option, especially if you're thinking the best two are red and yellow, and red has an edge on yellow, so you might see more red than yellow. Coincidentally, as white, you don't have a great matchup against yellow, but nothing has a great matchup against yellow, so you might not care about it. Now, which white control? That's the question, I think, because the more traditional one is the Machine Beast deck that heavily relies on Newman City to curve, cheat in expensive spirits, like we talked about Nomengard, Aegis, and Elk. Other things that get forgotten, like Bladesaster Eagle, my boy Turbo Rax. So that traditional kind of list that have seen some success recently in the Grand Open, in particular, the last Grand Open, and does very well against red. At the same time, struggle heavily against yellow and against aggro strategies, obviously, because you rely on like kind of ramping slowly. So it'll be interesting to see, what kind of versions of white. We've seen like some interesting approaches to white control from Anthony and Rex that played that mandala kind of control. Essentially, sits back, relax, lets yellow draw, and then close them off with mandala, essentially, because they have that much draw. So I don't know if we will see. I think we will see a fair amount of white. I don't know.
You already went over the free cards. You said Elk, Mecha, and the Nexus.
I would probably.
Would you pick any more for your list?
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't put Elk as a key card. I would put Nomengard, Aegis,
And Newman City.
and I would actually put a question mark, because I think that's where people need to figure out, because the main issue with the deck is the lack of draw and just the kind of like good curve without the Numen City. So yeah, I would put a question mark there, try to be a bit edgy. But in terms of good matchup, we have red, and also some sort of like maybe pure Gale, because Gale also wants to high roll and doesn't go very fast, so you might be able to outvalue them. And also, you have way to deal with the Smag, because you probably want to play the Star Blasts, you want to catch them on that one summon, and if you have a plenty of cards in your hand as white, you're chilling. Worst matchup, touched on it, aggro, probably like a tempo deck that, if it's able to kind of pivot to a more quick, aggressive style, can just finish you off. So yeah, I think white sits comfortably in good.
Okay, so I am going to pick the next one. I'm going to go with a deck that I've played a little bit. It's more of a card, really, because it can be played in many different ways. Supernova Dragon Seagworm. So very, very nice card. We're all big fans of it here at the Nexus podcast. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can play with this card. I feel like at the moment we haven't really touched on dual color decks so much, but beauty. Oh, Harry just gave a bit of a side eye. Is he gonna one up it?
You know what? It'll take too long to find. Just know that I do have a couple myself. I'll hold up PT Dragno King instead.
Yeah.
That'll be my clout moment.
But yeah. Ooh, very nice. Look at this flexing. I'm trying to keep my train of thought, guys, and you're just showing this shiny cardboard. I can't. But yeah, no, Nova, as I was saying, really good in mono red. Works well with Apollodinus and that kind of build, but it's also very versatile at the moment. Like, I've been seeing people using it with green, people using it in lots of different combinations. Really, really great card. I feel like it can turn a game pretty well. I put it in A tier. I put it at the bottom of the list though. And yeah, no, I expect to see a lot of it being played. I know this is for Worlds, but moving forward, there's some really nice cards coming in for Star Dragons in general. So no, I'm excited to see where they go with red. What do you guys have all had experience with red as well, the Seagworm. What do you guys think about its prospects moving into Worlds?
Pretty good.
Amy?
I mean,
Any of you?
it offers something different to Apollodinos. Obviously, I guess the elephant in the room would be, what does it offer that Apollodinos does not offer in the current landscape? But that's not a rhetorical question. Like, the pressure that Nova applies is much harder to play around than Apollodinos for a lot of decks. I think, Josh, you've played yellow a lot. You'd probably
Something like
rather
that.
see an Apollodinos come down than a Nova, just because
Yes.
Nova's always going to be a bit of a clock. Like the Genbus,
I mean,
if
if you don't have a hand built when Nova comes down, it's game over, because you're setting a board up and it gets killed. So yeah, you need to be in. If Nova's going to come down, you need to be in a position to be able to weather the storm for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, have you used it in any sort of spicy combinations, Emmy? Anything that you find cool with this card?
Wings 2.0.
Yeah, maybe. I think yeah, Outwings green red at Pro Tour did fairly well. And we still tested and developed it a little bit. We really like it. I think just Nova being that super versatile top end that can just repeatedly remove a board is just really strong. I think it just struggles in certain scenarios, and it needs to be like played with a bit of a plan behind it, not just chuck it down. But one thing I kind of like started appreciating a lot is Awaken as a mechanic. So we're talking about Nova and Apollodinos. Apollodinos does break when it has a soul core. Nova, you need to use the soul core to heal, but it doesn't mean that then, you know, Apollodinos is useless, or Nova after the heal, or if there's down an Enterprise is the useless. I think there's a lot of battle tricks that people should keep in mind that raise the value of red even higher when we think about, you know, the things that you can do battle trick wise, you know, attack with a spirit, you know, and Flash Awaken to even like remove all the cores, or, you know, obviously the main use is pump another spirit, but there are situations and certain cards that you might not want to destroy. So I don't know, like I would also put in good. To me is honestly like leaning top. But yeah, curious to know like what's your favorite, not favorite, yeah, best and worst matchup for Nova.
We can add quickly before that on Nova, like a nice perk to it, I guess, is that it can go over the top of the Apollodinos matchups. Like Apollodinos is never hitting 12k to kill a Nova on the other side, so it does present a route to beat other reds. Like I ran Hybrid Nova throughout set 1 just because it gave a clear route to beat other reds, which ended up being important in that meta. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think, I mean, Nova's kind of got some nemesis cards really that give it serious problems, like Armored Dragon Ship, obviously. If that comes down, that kind of renders it kind of useless. It makes it a very expensive big guy essentially. With so yeah, I'd just say that any white control that gets Enterprise out, I think is got a high percentage chance of winning that matchup. And for good matchups, I guess it plays quite well into yellow. You know, obviously, as I was saying, if you don't have a board established with a good hand, and this is played on you, you're in trouble. You're going to be in a constant loop of losing your board, and you know, keeping reduction off is huge in this game. It's like keeping that tempo when they're just drawing dead. It seems very powerful. I'd say
I think one way to describe the difference between kind of Nova and like Apollodinos, because I think we've kind of just said like, yeah, yellow's its best and white's its worst, but that's the same for Apollodinos. I think the way to more amplify it, so like I think if you're a deck that you're not favored against Apollodinos, but you don't mind it too much, you definitely hate Nova. But if you're a deck that like for example, if you're playing white, you'd much rather see Nova. Much rather see Nova. But if you're playing Fable Beast or any other deck in the game that relies on board presence, you'd much rather see Apollodinos. It's one of those kind of situations. I think like the mid-range deck is more adaptable to like against control white versus Nova. I think.
Yeah, I mean, and talking of the best cards for the matchup, because I skipped on that part. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good 6 costs cards. What would you say the best Seaworm is? Probably the Meteor Seaworm, right? Is the go-to if you're trying to get the life
Turbo
gain.
Rex. It goes Turbo Rex, then Baculus, then Meteor Sieg. That's the order.
Yeah. But definitely, I was going to say Baculus as well. It seems to have been a very popular card in combination with Nova. Obviously, you can
Very strong.
reduce
Back Curse Dragon is in all the sideboards for Novas recently.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it's a very obvious combo. You know, you get super good value, and then you can pretty much burn the whole board thereafter. So
That's what I was alluding earlier, and I think, you know, going a step further, you can, you know, especially in the most unfavorable matchup against white, you can just drop in a Paladinos that won't reach an Enterprise straight away, but you just have it there chilling, and then the next turn you do Baculus, and then you swing. Obviously, you need Canyon to reach that 6k for level 1 Enterprise, but there you go. You know, and they might have an Aegis as well, pop 2.
there is always a path.
It is very relevant by
Throwing
direct
an elk as
comparison
well.
to the curse combo as well, because the curse combo you have to have both pieces at once. Whereas with Nova, you can get the Nova down, start applying pressure, and then the Bacillus is just super relevant at the very end. So yeah, very good.
And then we got one more pick. Kieran wanted time to think.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I mean, like you guys are picking all these boring decks, but I'm gonna say let's put Crush in there. Crush Tempo, please, with Nirvana being the avatar, not Mandala. So we've kind of been having fun.
where
if
where
you
where
come to-
where you put
Oh,
it?
true. I'll be honest, it goes in meh, but it's
In C tier? My goodness.
it does go in C tier, but I wanted to give something to the lower tier ends, but I
Yeah,
also want to
we
justify
got to
it
give
by-
some love. To be fair, we have been just
Exactly.
doing the
The
hype
last thing
decks.
we put in Meh won the event, so just bear that in mind. Crush,
Yeah.
please.
And I said on the podcast it would win worlds. So let's see.
So I think like blue is really interesting as a whole. I think like when blue was coming out, I really looked at blue as kind of like this kind of control deck, but realistically, it does what every other deck wants to do, a bit worse. Blue's definite win is Crush. Crush is such an interesting mechanic, but when you look at some of the Crush cards, they are really overtuned actually. Like the stat lines and the effects they're paired with is really big. Like the Platoon is really well statted. Gordon is insanely well statted, plus like effect wise he's crazy. Randolph, I mean, if you're playing Tempo Y or any 3 cost or less deck, just scoop it up. You're not beating Randolph, man. Those kind of cards just really control the pace of the game. And the thing is, like, the most interesting thing about blue in my opinion is like their win con isn't necessarily killing you via life. They can do that, but like let's say the blessed player is healed to 10 life as per usual. Sure, I mean, you've probably drawn a few cards from Paradise, and guess what? Like, Crush is a thing. The reason why I said Nirvana instead of Mandala, hot take, I think Mandala isn't actually that great for blue. I think Mandala works best in kind of like this kind of stooly strategy that we saw.
Where would
with the
you
Mandala
put Mandala as a card in the tier list? I'm just gonna throw a
As a card,
curveball.
it actually goes in the good tier if it has the right deck to facilitate it, which I think what happened with the Mandala white control list we saw, with played by Rex and Dango. I think those two guys have really like made a great Mandala deck. But Mandala only works like blue as a color doesn't have the defensive tools to get to the point where Mandala is relevant, which is what we saw white control kind of fix. And it did really even I want to give a shout out to Enoch as well. Like he brought a really good Mandala just multicolor pile to the Utrecht Grand Open, and that deck was just wacky as per usual for his decks. But like it had K, and K could loot mandalas. It had the purple Nexus. What's it called? The one that recycles monsters back? Impaler Forest.
Impaler,
What's it say?
yeah, Impaler Forest.
Impaler to add back the K to replay the to add, you know, like
Blazing
it was
Ball.
Blazing Ball to add back K and back Mandala. Like it's a deck, but I think Nirvana is really underrated because it has that raid mechanic. Raid's a really strong mechanic, by the way. It's a double attack mechanic. And it's also just shredding through your deck like there's no tomorrow. If you're playing any slow deck, like this kind of goes to the best matchups. Actually, I guess key cards. Like I think like when you talk about key cards in blue, I want to say one of them kind of has to be Floodstream. Obviously,
Amazing card.
you get to play Floodstream on a cheap. I'm not gonna say strong draw because it doesn't actually help blue that much because you're not plussing at all. Blue kind of relies on Star Blast draw, but we've talked about that card already. I think the next highlight card for blues, I'm gonna say is Gordon. Gordon is a crazy 4-drop. I don't know if any of you guys have read Gordon, but like,
oh yeah,
wow,
Gordon's really good.
that stat line and
5K on
crushing,
2.
and, yeah, it's such an insane card. And I have to say Randolph. Randolph's my third one. Like, there are sometimes those board states when you're looking down at 2-3 drops or less, and you're like, well, Randolph comes down, pops both of them, and you mill, and you're probably gonna take the damage as well.
What about matchup wise for blue? What
yeah.
what would you?
Your best matchup is anything slow. So white control, smag, those are your best matchups. Like, funny enough, like those decks are actually slow to the point where like you can mill them out pretty consistently. And that's why I mean like the crush tempo. And one thing I have to give I completely forgot about the Nexuses. There's 2 Nexuses in the crush deck. There's one that gives you plus 2k to all your crush cards during your turn, and there's one that gives plus 1k to all your crush cards during both players' turns. When you start stacking those Nexuses up, your crush cards become really, really, really big. Like, really big. And then that first Nexus I mentioned, if you have 1 core in it, whenever you deal damage, they mill 3 each time. So if Blessed has 10 life, I don't care. You're taking one. You're milling 3 per copy each time you take a damage. And as I said, most decks cut their main deck Nexus removal. So best matchup is white control and smag piles. Your worst matchup, and I think this is what we talked about with red. Red is a very big gatekeeper deck. If you want to kind of very slowly set up the board and your Nexuses, red's just going to put you back down to reality. It's kind of hard for blue to sustain its Nexuses against red's just, like 8 main deck Nexus destruction with 4 Burning Force, 4 Andromeda. So it's not really, it's not viable. Oh, sorry. Oh, how did I forget about the key card Allegro, right? It's blue, right? Allegro. How
I was
could
about
forget?
to say, like,
Yeah,
Allegro's
Yeah,
insane.
absolutely.
I hate that card. Oh my god.
Allegro
card
is
is
so
nuts.
good. Sorry, I forgot about Allegro. If you talk about tempo, you talk about Allegro, right? You play Allegro, swing, pop, restand, swing. Oh, it's amazing. Like,
Unreal.
please try the deck out if you haven't played it. It's so much fun. It's not that. It's not like. I wouldn't take it to Worlds, and if you do, you're crazy. But I respect you a lot. But it's fun.
Okay,
It's
so
really
that
fun.
that actually concludes our list here. We've got a few fan favorites. I'm just gonna get you guys to put them in tiers quickfire as the question time on the round for the day. So Emmy, where would you put Infernal Curse King?
Or like a purple core control kind of.
Yeah, purple core control, sort of.
Yeah, it really suffers against both red and yellow, unfortunately. Like, we've been testing it in the group, and it's tricky. It's strong, but it's really, really tricky.
So B tier for this.
It's probably B in the middle, yeah.
Alrighty. Harry, Derm Diner. Where would you put this guy?
So I guess that was reflective of like aggro white or like just try to kill quickly white.
Yeah, just white beat down, like white smack.
I would put it. I mean, I think to be on the safe side, we'll put it on okay, but I would keep an eye on this for sure. Like, white has incredible kill options very quickly. Floodstream is in the meta, but like isn't super prevalent in every deck. So yeah, the gotcha white will definitely be gotchaing a few people at this event. It's very strong.
You mentioned you tested it, Kieran. Okay. What about Majuk?
In this meta, I'm gonna put her in good. Best matchup, I think really good against white and red. Worst matchup, however, yellow, which is kind of the best deck in the game. So
that makes sense.
Oh.
What about
the prize card, Majuk?
Oh,
the draw filler.
That makes it even better if it's the prize card one. What
about Chechen for actually summoning the prize card on me on stream and scaring the shit out of me?
Josh, can I give one to you?
Yeah, of course.
Archangel Michaela.
Oh, good choice.
I mean, she is a great sideboard option, I think, for Genbu. But if we're talking,
He did get second at Liverpool.
yeah, if we're talking for this, I think the red meta is going to be so strong, and people that go, I mean, I guess we're talking more into sort of Magic territory, so they really suffer with tempo, and red's going to be everywhere. So I'd probably put it in okay as well, to be honest. I mean, it depends though. Obviously, it can be built in many different ways. But yeah, I wouldn't want to play Luster into a red field. So that's all I'm saying. I've done it before, and it's not fun. Don't get me wrong.
How's its Fabled Beast matchup? If you know, I'd be quite curious to know that.
I haven't tested it that much, but from reports, I think it has the edge on Fabled Beast. I think
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's more aggressive with removal, and tempos are really good against yellow. You know, so that's like if you can keep reduction off the board, Fabled Beast really suffers. I think that's really the key to keeping a lid on it. Although it can just come back from nowhere. I'm gonna just chuck in one more quick one. Colosseum Golem. We'll put it in the D tier.
Oh.
You know what? We've seen
It makes
couple of-
infinite Genbu blockers.
That's true.
It's awful. It's so expensive. It just doesn't have the impact it needs for the price it costs. Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't hate on it that much, but
I mean, it might if someone wants to come and try and slap me with it, by all means. Like that card
I
puts
know
no
what I'm
fear
doing
in
at
me.
Worlds.
don't tempt it.
Round one, head against Josh, Colosseum Golem.
It's like
Colosseum
you're gonna
Golem,
have
let's
8
go.
rounds of Colosseum Golems, you know.
By the way, guys, he's put it in D tier because he doesn't want you to summon all those infinite blockers against his Genbu when he plays Fable.
Or I'm
playing
playing
it in
Colosseum.
both,
Yeah.
Ooh.
You just wanted it on there. Love
Big
it.
shout out to one of the best cards in the format, I think, as well at the moment. Tokuwa 5 cost. That card is. It makes for very interesting, dynamic gameplay.
It's kind of fell off a bit, interestingly.
Yeah,
It's,
I
not
just
so
love
much
seeing
play.
people play it in piles. Like maybe not necessarily in Gale strictly, but it's just a very entertaining card to watch. Makes games swing very well, and I don't know. I just in observing and playing it a bit, I just really enjoyed that card. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it, guys, for our tier list. So Genbu and red mid range at the top, guys. You heard it here first. Yellow will win Worlds.
Yes, you did.
But yeah, we're gonna quickly do the last draw before we leave this page for the big one.
The Judge Dream
The
Bomb,
big
right?
big one, the Judge Dream Bomb, guys. Bit out of focus there, but you will not be able to get your hands on these anymore. I know there's some fancy Dream Bombs coming out at Worlds, but this is probably one of your last chances to grab one of these. So good luck, and like I say, just message us or meet me at Worlds, and I will hand it over. So here we go.
Good luck.
Drum rolls.
I wish you could have entered.
It has a little noise, and then
Your girlfriend is on it because she commented.
my girlfriend got second place. She got the
Ooh. Inside trading.
Whoa!
Wait,
So our winner is at user -GZ9ED6XBY.
Oh,
B3Y.
we know who that is.
You do?
Who is it?
Do we?
I don't know.
Wait, I'm pretty sure.
Sounded
I
like
know
a
who that is.
postcode to me, bro.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. I just thought it was funny because the name is like not a name at all. It's like a
Oh,
password.
no, sorry, I don't know that person at all.
But yeah, congratulations, friend. Get in touch.
Karen's like that.
That's
I know.
I got it to sign up.
That is
Yeah, it was
user -GZ9ED6XB3Y. Congratulations, you have won yourself the Dream Bomb. Very, very nice. Very, very nice.
Congrats,
All right,
congrats to the
so
winner.
Congrats, user.
gonna do a little. to change into our big screens, and thank you all guys for checking out episode one of season 2. Worlds is next week, guys. We are looking forward to hitting up LA, and yeah, let's have a party, guys. If you want to come out and have a drink with us, we are partial to that. And
Yes.
we're gonna have reason to celebrate because Europe's taking Worlds, guys. Yeah, so
You heard it first.
but yeah, thanks, guys, and yeah, anyone else got some final comments before we leave?
Josh's opinion on Yellow winning Worlds is not representative of the Nexus TCG podcast.
Truth hurts, man. Truth hurts.
I don't approve this message.
Don't approve this.
Oh, I mean, I didn't say I like the fact. I just said it is the fact. What about you, Kieran? You wanna plug your locals one more time?
Yep, Play Nation Games, come on down. We are the best and only locals in London, if I'm being honest. Yeah,
And
I think
new X account.
yeah.
It is really nice there as well. Like I will say, like
Yeah.
I've been to Dark Sphere and other tournaments where it feels much more like Battle Spirits is a table in a room full of other TCGs. Like at Play Nation, although that is probably still the case technically.
There is a few fun
feels-
tournaments actually being planned
feels
up.
like an actual-
I may as well shout it out for Chris here.
Yeah.
We Jester Games in Stockport, they're planning a few tournaments. So go to their website, and yeah, Chris is working hard to try and get more of a community going up here in the Northwest. So yeah,
Yeah,
shout out
in
to him.
February and March.
And yeah, we another little thing we haven't touched on really. We do have new social medias. You'll see them at the end. And you saw them on the last screen. So go follow our X and stuff. And yeah, just to stay in touch and know more about what's coming from us. We're planning on potentially setting up a Discord as well. Where we might do maybe even a locals or something like that, where we can film people playing and just try and get a community spirit going for people that don't have a locals. So, but yeah, thank you all for watching, guys. We really appreciate you, and we hope you like the new setup that we've got. And yeah, we look forward to doing a bunch more episodes for you guys. So, catch you next time.
See
See you
you
later.
Peace.